Hello, everyone. This is Linda Ferguson.
And Karen Nelson-Bell.
And welcome to another edition of Platinum Prime for Life podcast, where Karen and I share our tips and tricks and interesting tidbits that we utilize in our own lives to live a Platinum Prime life. So today's a little bit different than what we've done before, because Miss Karen had an idea for something that I will let her share with us.
Well,
Take it away.
People have book clubs. Lots of people have book clubs. There's online book clubs. I belong to 2 or 3 online book clubs. Oprah has her book club. There's recommendations, and you sit and you talk about them, and you talk about the books. And so I thought we should have a book club because you and I are big readers. And you're often bringing a book. I watch a fellow every morning that inspires me in the field that I'm in. And he brings about once a week, he'll bring a book that he recommends. And then you get to go off and read it, or you don't, whichever. But I thought we should have our book club because it's uniquely books that would be helpful to our target audience, which is platinum prime of life people. Like
You're watching us. You're our target audience.
I am.
Well, I mean, everyone out there. I know you are, but who's everyone else?
I thought maybe we could just every month we could have one of our podcasts be directed towards books and have our book club. And you would have to bring 2 and I would have to bring 2. And you liked my idea, right?
I did. That's why we're here today. But and also for anyone who has a book recommendation for us, we would love to hear what you love and why. And who knows, Karen and I might just pick those books up and read them. So let's actually, without further ado, let's get started with our very first Platinum Prime for Life Books of the Month podcast. So because it was your idea, I'm going to put you on the spot first, Karen.
So the first book that I'm going to bring to your attention is one in a series of books that changed my life quite a bit. The first book was a book called Multiple Streams of Income by Robert Allen. And I thought, well, I need to show you a physical hard copy. Maybe I don't, but I didn't have a physical hard copy. That book changed everything for me. It's what introduced me to the field of real estate. It introduced me to the field of network marketing, intellectual property. Everything in it was very helpful to me at a time when I had just lost control of the show that made me successful early on. And I just really loved it. But this book, first of all, it's called The 1 Minute Millionaire, and it was written by Robert Allen, who is my mentor in the field of real estate and in the field of information marketing, and Mark Victor Hansen, who is the co-author of all of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. And these 2 guys were my 2 mentors. And when I wrote my bestseller, Nothing Down for Women, I co-wrote it with Bob, and Mark wrote the opening, the foreword to my book. So they're buddies of mine. So I like them both very much. And the book is I think for somebody in there who's senior years, as you know, it's important to have your health and your wealth. And you focus a lot on the wealth. I should have given you this book to read so that you would know what I'm talking about.
I own it. I love it. I've already read it multiple times.
Are you serious?
Serious?
Did you know that it was about me and Duncan?
No, until you told me recently, I had no clue. So share with everyone else what the book's about.
Well, it's a really interesting book because it's written, half of it is fiction, 1/2 of the page is fiction, and 1/2 is nonfiction. And Duncan and I inspired the story about Michelle, all of our real estate deals and all of my transactions after he died, when he died, and then I had to carry on. Everything was based on our financial adventures. So, and you'll see our names when he thanks all the people that he wants to thank. He's thanking Duncan and me. And it's kind of neat. But I think that this is such an easy read. Do you agree? I didn't know that you'd read it. So it's an easy read because it's fiction and it's a story, and the story illuminates the instructional aspect of it. And I think that makes it easy. It makes it easy for someone to engage in. If you're not, maybe you're not a senior who wants to pick up a heavy duty finance book, but what about this? Because it's such an easy read, and it really gives very, very specific how tos. How do you manage? How do you become a minute millionaire? I wasn't a 1 minute millionaire. I was a 4 month and 9 day millionaire. It took me 4 months and 9 days to become a millionaire. And that story
But
is
it's a
in.
great title. So,
Is it?
and as far as an easy read, I have to agree. So, I'm going to tell you something about this book. I love the book, and I read the book long before I ever met Karen. So, that's saying
Wow.
whatever, because I was
Wow.
familiar with Robert Allen and some of his real estate teachings, which I really liked way back in the day, many, many, many years ago.
Wow.
But when I read the book, it was interesting because the pages are two different colors, and each story or each vein of the book is on one color page. And then the story, if you're into stories and following along, is in the other. So not only was it structured as far as content goes in an interesting way, but actually the way the book was put together was really interesting. I adored it. And it wasn't until literally maybe a week and a half ago, something like that. I mean, very, very recent times, and mentioned that the story was about she and Duncan. And that blew me away. I was like crazy. I highly recommend it too. So it's inspirational,
The story is powerful. The
powerful.
story,
Yes, it is.
and it's so powerful, and people would come up to me, and the story is not entirely, the emotional aspects of the story are not mine, because I didn't. I don't want to give it away, but it's a sad story with a happy ending, and people come up to me and say, "I'm so sorry," and I had to explain, "No, no, It's only the parts about our wealth adventures." you know,
Loosely based on you. Yeah. There
yeah,
you go.
yeah, loosely.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
all
Two
all of the she does.
thumbs up
She
for me.
gets into some real estate deals. The girl in the story does end up doing real estate deals, and all those deals are real life deals that we did.
Okay. So that's book one. And I enjoyed it, highly recommend it. Where can people get that book?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
I would imagine it's still in book, might even still be in bookstores, because it's a extremely popular book, I would think.
We will have a link for it
Yeah,
in the show notes.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
Shall I go next?
if we're going to have links, I want to have nothing down for women, and K&B's keto calendar, and K&B's keto express, and peaceful stories for what is bedtime stories for peaceful sleep, and saving America. Can we put mine in there too?
Oh,
I never,
I
I never thought about it. Maybe I'm going to bring one of my own books sometime.
oh, I guess you could. Sure.
I don't
That's
know.
right. Exactly. Yeah. How many books have you written, Karen?
Oh gosh, I've probably written 10 books. My very first book was a book called Music Theory for Drummers, because I was married to a drummer, and he wanted to learn all about music theory, and I had a degree in music theory, so I wrote a book called Music Theory for Drummers. I don't think you're going to find that one anyplace.
Okay, so we will have a list of
Yeah.
all of Karen's books
Oh, that's
in the
nice.
show notes for sure. And then we
Oh,
will count how many there are.
okay.
Music theory for drummers. Oh, that's cool. That's actually cool. I didn't know that. So you still have a copy of that one?
No, I don't, but I do have a copy of Music Theory for Choirs. I have a book that's all for choirs to learn how to read music.
Ooh. Hmm.
Because choirs sometimes have most choirs are amateur choirs, right? Almost all choirs are amateur, and because they're church volunteers. They're people who love to sing, and that's that. And sometimes their skill level is not maybe enough to make a really good choir. So I wrote a book, and we put it into practice. Were you there? Were you there when we piloted it?
Yeah, but I don't have a copy of that book anymore. So I would like that because I sing in Karen's choir, and
Well, it's
I'm
only
one of those. Yeah,
like I never published it. It was just available on a PDF, but it is a book, but it was never
I love it.
published properly, you know.
Okay, so let's get back to the books we're recommending. So
Yes.
we have two each.
Yeah.
Would you like me to go to the next one, or would you like to share the next book you have?
How about I share the next one I have? I don't have a hard copy because every time I get a hard copy, I give it away to somebody, and I've just given away my last hard copy, so I can only show you. I have it on Kindle as well, and I also have it on audiobook because when I like a book, I like to have it in all the formats. I like to hold it in my hand. I didn't ever buy the hard copy; I got the paperback. But this Daniel Trevor is a friend of mine. Daniel Trevor is a very smart guy. And he was a very healthy guy until he had a heart attack. And he didn't understand why he had a heart attack because he thought he was healthy. He thought he was doing everything right, following the conventional wisdom that we had. Say, this is, I'm going to say he had his heart attack about 15 years ago, maybe.
Hmm.
And it tells the story of him recovering from the heart attack and wanting to go deep and discover why he had the heart attack and how for other people who think they're healthy not to have the heart attack. And I bought it because I had a friend who actually saved their lives. They had a heart attack in the middle of the night. They came to my condo and said, I don't feel well. And I checked him out and took him, finally said, well, let's just go over to the hospital and see what's going on. Then we can come home and you'll know what you know what's going on. And we got to the hospital and I stayed out in the parking lot because I was going to take him back home. And the nurse said, called me and she said, your friend is in the middle of a massive active heart attack. And he was a trim guy who looked fit.
Wow.
So I bought this book for him. And I think every woman who has a husband or a loved one should probably get this book and read it and know these points so that you can help your hubby to not have a heart attack. He may look fine. He may not be, he may not weigh 500 pounds. You would think a person that's overweight and has diabetes and all those things would have a heart attack, but no, there's other signs. There's other signs and there's other remedies, and he has done such deep research. He's a real excellent health researcher at this point. He did it for himself, but the research in here, and he wrote the book with the help of a doctor who helped him to understand the impact of your lifestyle upon your health future. And the book, I think the book saves lives. That's why I recommend this book extremely, in the extreme. It's available in hard copy. You know what, Linda, we could probably get Daniel to come on and be a guest sometime. He's a nice friend. I called him up out of the blue. I called him up and introduced myself and we became friends.
Hold on just a minute. I don't know if my audio's working just right. I'm going to probably have to hold this here.
You don't think your audio is working right?
Yeah, it's funny. I have an iPhone, and you're going to see the book I'll be talking about next, which is Profit First. And I have a MacBook that I'm recording this on. And sometimes the way Apple works is different things will grab your, it'll just work across platforms. So
Do you
sometimes
want
when I plug in a
want
microphone,
do you want to make this a short podcast and then we'll just start back up
no,
and make
there's a
sure?
way for me to equalize it later. I just see an alert coming up, so we'll continue on, and then
Okay.
I'll just chop out this middle part here.
All right. All right. So you can get that book on audiobooks and he's been reviewed. He's on a ton of YouTube videos. You'll find him all over the place. He's become quite famous from this book.
All right. Well, thank you, and sorry for any like weird interjections there, but yeah, technology and alerts. Okay, I have two books that I'm going to recommend. And the first of them, and if this microphone is what I'm coming through on, is this, the book is called Profit First. It's a book by Mike I don't know that I can say it, Mahalowitz. Anyway, it's a wonderful book. So the premise of the book is most entrepreneurs, when they're in business and they're making money, they tend to, one, look at their bank account a lot to make sure there's money coming in. Two, pay everything and everyone, and then what's left over, pay themselves. And very often, especially if you're a bit of a startup, by the time you get to and pay yourself, there's no and pay yourself left. There's no money left. So you're paying everyone else. You're working your butt off, because being an entrepreneur does not mean taking it easy. It means you're going to work twice or three times as hard as you would than if you were an employee. So there's that trade for the freedom you get for being in business for yourself, is you actually burn more time doing that. But it gets stressful if over and over and over again at the end of the month, you don't have enough to pay yourself and pay your own bills. So now you're trying to run a business and grow a business and struggle. So Profit First is a fantastic book, and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it for anyone, but it gives you the mindset and it gives you methodology for business finances that is so good. And you follow it. It just takes the stress out of finances. You still have to make enough money to pay your bills, but the mindset behind it shifts. And when things shift and when you're not so stressed out, life becomes so much easier, because trying to flourish and prosper over heavy duty, especially financial stress, sucks. So highly recommend it. And I have, when I find a book that I find so helpful, I immediately buy up a bunch of copies and do what you do, Karen, and I send them off to friends and family. Like, check it out. I think you're going to like it. And for every business I've ever been in and every business partner I've ever had, because I'm so used to being in business for myself, I've not been an employee forever, ever, ever, ever. But I make everyone read this book. Like, this is what we're operating on.
Hold
And
on, hold on. I'm your
yeah,
business partner, and I've never been given any book. So
Karen,
I
here you go, Karen.
okay, thank you.
We don't have anything financially combined. We're just partners as far as the creative side of
Yeah,
doing things,
that's right.
blended partnership. No, and my kids too. My kids are all kind of do their thing, and everybody gets blown away. So he's written a series of books. They are all for entrepreneurs. And actually, he recommends a bank, Relay Financial, that was developed around what's discussed in this book. And it's
Wow.
where I bank.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so cool, because Profit First, one of the things, this will sound familiar to you, even if you haven't read this book, is once all your money comes in, it comes into one location. And then we call them set asides, or you put money into a tax account, you put money into a savings account, marketing account, and so on. Well, Relay Financial lets you just create those accounts, those checking or savings, whatever kind of accounts you want, on the fly. It is so flexible and so lovely. And when you log in to look, you see your aggregate amount of money, but then you see in each account how much a balance is there. Relayfi.com. So good. Anyhow,
So do you get any benefit if I sign up? Do you get some kind of a like a little boost?
you sign up. Everyone sign up. I don't know. You know what? I will put a link there if there's some sort of a referral commission that's paid.
Yes,
That's
yes,
why
absolutely.
not?
One,
But
yeah,
yeah, because when someone goes through the process of curating information, I will just tell you how valuable that is. You learn on someone else's experience, and if it's someone that you trust, and you should trust both of us, because our
trusting
heart
you.
really is in the right place. We treat others the way we like to be treated. So
what you just described in banking is something that I want, and I've had to do workarounds to make that happen, but it's clumsy. So if there's a bank who knows that I want to do that, that's really nice.
It's super seamless, and everything about it's lovely. The only thing that I don't like about it is it takes, if you transfer money in from another source into that account, it takes 2 or 3 days before it hits your account, unless you wire it in directly. So that's the only downside that I've seen in banking with that bank. Other than that, it's lovely. Okay, so that is book number one, Profit First, Mike Michalowicz, and the bank Relay Financial is based on the his system, and I think behind it he probably helped put it together. Now here's book number two. It's another one of those books. I read it, I loved it. I immediately sent out copies to friends and family, and my kids eye rolled me when they got it, because this is a book, 4 Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss. Now, this is what it says: an uncommon guide to rapid fat loss, incredible sex, and becoming superhuman.
Pretty bold promise. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And that's kind of it crosses like a wide spectrum of things.
Yeah.
So Timothy Ferriss, before the word hack was really bandied about, hack meaning you're going to use a method to achieve an outcome that either is an unusual way to do it or it's a shortened way to do it. So mind hack, fat loss hack, so on. That's a common term now. It didn't used to be. And his very first book, which is super popular, is called The 4 Hour Work Week. And that really just propelled him to tremendous success. I better put my microphone here. I just don't know if this mic is the mic that's working or if it's my phone, which happens to be right here too. Okay, so moving on. 4 Hour Work Week. It's approaching different things, like it's approaching fat loss, it's approaching having incredible sex, which is what made my kids roll their eyes like, Mom, why did you send us this? I go, but there's other good stuff in there. You can not read that if you don't want to. Anyway, and then moving on to becoming superhuman. That also is good. And many, many things about it are great. So I'm just going to say I highly recommend the book. That being said, I was talking with Karen off camera earlier, and I said, Timothy Ferriss, he hasn't written any books for a while. And why is that? Well, I think I'll look and find out. And cut to the short is, I think in like 2017, something came up that was kind of reintroduced or snuck back into society, which is something that's, in my opinion, an unhealthy direction. And that is the use of psychedelics, microdosing. It was a popular thing. So psychedelics. So Tim Ferriss, as a person, thinks outside of the box. And then somewhere along the line, he said he's a manic depressive, and he decided he was going to try and commit suicide, or he was close to it. So the public persona was super smart, very healthy, does a lot with workouts and stuff. Great information in the book, and there's nothing to detract there. But somewhere along the line, he was just like, despite everything else, I'm not overcoming my mental problems. And while Karen and I, we're aligned in our beliefs on what causes mental problems, what causes those mental problems, a lot of other people search around. And one of the things they turn to is psychedelics. So he's gone on to invest a whole lot into psychedelic research and stuff. And interestingly enough, he's never written a book since then. And he still struggles with the things he struggles with. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But the reason I brought up that particular thing is it made me think, does what someone evolves into negate what they earlier wrote? That is because what he's doing, I'm so violently against psychedelics. And that is coming from when I was growing up, I had an aunt in a mental hospital and she was in rough shape. We'll just say that. She used to come to our house on the weekends, but I got to see firsthand the treatment of patients in mental hospitals. And I can tell you it was so ugly and so horrifying that even as a child, it just created such angst in me to even have to go see her. It was horrible. And one of the things that she described, which later turned out to be LSD, but we didn't know it, was they were experimenting on mental patients with LSD just to see what would happen, to experiment to see what would happen. Very well justified, but it was gross. And I saw firsthand what that did. And I saw firsthand what that same drug did to several of the guys I grew up with that just, they checked out over a certain point. You know, some completely never recovered from using psychedelics, and others just kind of faded away. So, not in agreement with psychedelics whatsoever. However, this book I'm recommending, and I will continue to recommend it because there's some good info in it.
So you're recommending the book, but not the ongoing works of that author.
Not where the guy went afterwards. Yeah, too bad. We could have shared some good solutions with them, but this one's worth reading. The cool thing about reading, the cool thing about any kind of advice is if you find someone you like and you find the direction they're going in, you hang out with them. Getting another opinion, getting something in your head that causes you to think, to wonder, to be curious about, instead of just vegging out in front of a TV, is good. It's exercise for your head. And it also creates more life for you. Constant inspiration lifts you up, right? Sitting in front of things that are depressing or being around people that are depressing takes you in another direction. Highly recommend. Books are good. Karen writes some cool books, by the way. Her stuff's actually really, really good. And I have every one of her books except Keto Calendar. I do not have that.
You actually have the bedtime stories for peaceful sleep?
I do.
You have it on
And
audiobook?
I was going to say it's the audiobook.
The audiobook is the only one that people should ever get.
Oh, I didn't
Because
know there was a hard copy, but I would listen to it, listen to the stories. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Back when, back when I was trying everything to fall asleep,
Yeah.
and audiobooks has been part of my life for several years now. So
Wow.
thank you. All right. So we've shared 2 books each, why we chose them. And each of us, when we find something we like, share it with others. So we're sharing our choices with you this week. And we want to hear from you. So again, do you have a book that changed your life? Do you have a book that when you went through it, you decided, okay, I got to share it. 2, I got to do it, or vice versa. And it's continued to be life-changing to this day. If so, drop a comment below and we will check it out. We'll check it out. And maybe we've already read it. Okay, anything more you want to say for this week, Karen?
No, I really love this idea. I like this so much, and I hope that people, even if let's say you're an author and you wrote a book that you think that applies to what we're talking about, send us. We can be advanced readers, or we can be after the fact readers. We're just readers. I read that readers are leaders. I don't know if that's true, but I am a reader. Have been since I was 5 since I was 5 years old. Mother put a big benefit during the summer to see how many books you joined the competition at the library to see how many books you could read in the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just yeah, reading is the best.
I love it. Okay. With that, we're going to bid you adieu. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.